Bonjour, comment ça va? Hope everyone is doing well. Azren, the language nerd here, and welcome to lesson number 6 in this French A1 French course. If this is the first time you're watching this and you happen to stumble across this somehow, go into the description below and you're going to see 2 different links. The first link is the note file for this class where you can see all of the notes. And the second link is the list, the link with all of the what do you call it? The videos in this particular course. So we're gonna skip the usual. We're gonna skip the usual review. We're gonna dive directly into some new concepts today, and I think the time is right for us to cover off pronunciation in French and cover off what that looks like. We've done enough lessons, and it feels right to cover this off now. French pronunciation tends to be one of the most complicated things about French. There are lots of silent letters. There's lots of sounds that we don't have in English, and so I want to make sure that we cover this off and we get lots of practice. Before we get started, I just want to open something very quickly on my computer. All right. Here we go. Got it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go through the alphabet in French. Certain letters we're going to cover off pretty quickly, and other letters we're going to spend more time on. Okay, because certain letters are actually the same or super similar to English, and certain letters are obviously quite different. Okay, so A is A, right? A is the same as like in English, right? A. Not a lot to cover here. A is really easy to pronounce. It is pronounced A. Okay. B is B. It's the same as English. Nothing to cover off. Okay. C is C. Not difficult at all. It's pronounced the same way as in English. So if we had a word like I don't know, if cow was a French word, like if this was a French word, or like actually we can do cab, right? If cab existed as a French word, like C-A-B, it would be cab. Like it's essentially the same. There's not a lot to go through there. Okay, so A, B, C, easy. D's are the same. E's are not. Okay. So generally speaking, the letter E, when you see an E, it is pronounced as either E or it is pronounced as E. I'll say them a couple times. Either E or it is pronounced as E. E, 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 E. I'll give you a couple of examples. So for example, usually 2-letter words are pronounced as E. That's usually how, if there's a 2-letter word and it has an E, that E is going to be pronounced as an E. Okay? So I'll give you some examples of pronounced as an E. Sorry. I'll give you some 2-letter words as an example. So this one we've seen a million times in the class. Je. Right? This is je. This E says E. E, 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 E. This is a good time to say this. I would highly recommend, if there's ever a time you send me voice messages to get feedback on your pronunciation, this is the time to do so. Instagram and Facebook are Instagram and Snapchat are the places to reach me. My username is @polyglot_Azren. Polyglot_Azren. POLYGLOT AZ or ZREN. Send me voice messages of you saying some of the words that we cover, and I will tell you if you pronounce them correctly or not. Okay? So we have je, for example. We have things like le, another 2-letter word, right? Le, je, te, me. These are all E, 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 E. So in 2-letter words, E's say E. Je, le, te, me, for example. Okay? If it's not a two-letter word, it can kind of depend. It kind of depends, right? Usually it's going to be eh. Sometimes it might be it depends, but usually eh. I'll give you some examples. So I might say something like lettre, lettre. This E says an eh, lettre. Worth pointing out while we're on the letter E, if there's ever an E at the end of a word, meaning the last letter of a word is an E, you're generally not going to pronounce it. It's just going to be kind of silent. So this is lettre, lettre, lettre. This E says eh. This one is silent. Okay, lettre. We'll cover how to say this R in a moment. Okay. Another example where it says eh would be a word like mettre. Mettre. Right? Mettre means like to put or to place it as a verb. So mettre. Again, we have an E at the end, so we don't pronounce that E. It is silent. Okay, but this one says eh. All right? So E's, as a recap, sometimes say if it's a two-letter word. Sometimes say eh. Okay? Let's keep going down the alphabet. So we have A, B, C, D, E. We have F. F is F. Nothing to cover off. That's exactly the same as English. It says F, right? A, B, C, D, E, F. G is a little different, but not crazy different. In fact, grand horloge. Actually, it's not. G's are the same. Sorry. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G. G's are pronounced the exact same ways in English. Nothing to cover off. H is different, but it's really easy. H's are silent. In other words, you do not pronounce the letter H when you see the letter H. You don't pronounce it. For example, in this word, it's not horloge, but it's you pretend the H isn't there. Horloge, not it's hard to say with an H. It's not horloge, but horloge. Horloge means a clock. Or another example, man in French is homme. Homme. This means man. We do not pronounce the H. We pretend it's not there. So when we have an H, we just basically cover it up, pretend it's not there, and say the rest of the word. I'll also point out we have an E at the end of this word. So it's not it's not it's, remember, E's at the end of a word are silent. We do not pronounce it. So I'll give you one more example. If I say something like, there's another example. If I say, I can't think of another word with an H. I can't think of another one. There's lots of them, but basically anytime you see an H, you do not pronounce it. It's why if you meet a lot of French people, they are unable to pronounce the letter H in English. Like they don't say horse, they say horse. Because they can't pronounce that H. I'm gonna pause this for a moment. I'm having a slight issue with the live chat for people who are watching this live. I'm gonna try, give me 30 seconds to try and fix it. If I can't fix it, I apologize. I'm not able to see your live chat. Perhaps what I'll do is I'll open this. Here we go. Awesome. Okay, I can see the live chat now, which is good. I'll just have to toggle through some different screens, which is a bit unfortunate, but I guess it is what it is. That's fine. Oh, so there are some questions in the live chat. How is the unit for length? Which one? I don't understand. Rasmus, I see your question. I don't understand it. If you could elaborate, I'll try and answer it. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. I in French is a little different than English. It's not hard, but it is different than in English. I says E. 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 So for example, in a word such as this is all dusty. There we go. I'll give you an example here. In the word il, we've seen this word before. Il, which means he, right? It's not, this I is not il, it's il. Okay, I say e, always says e. Okay, so A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. Let's look at J's. J's are not hard. Most of these letters we've covered so far are not actually too difficult. They're not super difficult, but they're just a little bit different. So J's are pronounced as zh. Rasmus says, you said mettre is to measure. Is that what I said? That's a mistake. I hope I didn't say mettre is to measure. Mettre means to put or to place. Yeah, it's to put or to place. And mettre has two T's, Rasmus. I see you in the chat. J's are pronounced as zh. Okay. Zh. Oh, you guys can't see that J very well, can you? Let's put it more in the middle. There we go. Zh. So it's not, in English, it's a lot harder. It's a lot more like, it's more strong. We say j. French doesn't say j. They say j. If you're trying to find like what kinds of, like how to write that in your notes, think of a word like vision, or perhaps mirage, or well, there's two words. I can't think of others. We have more, but there's two to get you started, right? So if we think of these kinds of words, right? When we say vision, this S in vision is pronounced the same way as the French J. Same in mirage, this G in mirage, that's a Z like that J. Okay? So J, now we have K, same as English. No change. A, B, C, D, H, I, J, K. Yep, K is the same. L is the same as English. M is the same as English. N is the same as English. O, almost the same as English, not quite, a little bit different. O is like O. I'll give you some examples. So like gros. Actually, what I'm gonna do, words that have an O in French. I'm gonna just Google it and just pull up a big list. I'm sure there's words that have an O, and I'll just read off the whole list. Oh, that's kind of dumb. So here we go. Well, this will have to do. So O, it says, well, O can actually say one of two things. O can either say O or So for example, this is gros. Gros. It means fat. O. It's kind of like saying oo, kind of like something between O and oo. It's like O. Right? Gros. Another example would be like a rhyming word, actually. Actually, let's not do that word. Let's do this one. This word here, do. I know there's a little like hat on top of the O. It doesn't actually change the pronunciation. It's just a spelling point. It's still pronounced the same way. It's not any different. Okay, so I know this little hat doesn't change anything. Do. Do. Gros. Right? Do. Gros. Those are two. Okay. O's in French can also, can also say more of an Kind of like in an English word like up, like the word up, like UP. Very similar to that to the U in up. Not exactly, but similar. Like I'll give you some examples. Actually, we saw one example earlier. In this word. Horloge. 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 Right? This is an This is the clock, right? This word means clock. Horloge. Horloge. So sometimes O says O, sometimes O says O, O, kind of depends. Maybe I'll give you a couple more examples so you can see. Let's look at a word like, let's look at this. Well, how do we say this word? We know this word, je, right? 2-letter word with an E. Je dors, 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 dors. So again, we have this sound instead of it's like an right? Dors. So those are our 2 options for the letter O. Okay. Let's keep going. Let's keep going down the list. So LMNO, we have P. P's are the same as English. Nothing to discuss. ABC, LNOP. Q is the same as in English. There's just a small caveat. There's a small note. In French, Q's are always followed by a U. Q, it's always QU. And this QU is pronounced as K, like the letter K. Exactly like the letter K. QU is said K. K, 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 K. The most common mistake English speakers will make is they'll say it qua. Because in English, this would say qua, right? If we look at a word like liquid, right? Like liquid, this QU says qua, liquid, qua, quid, right? But in French, it just says k. This would be, in fact, the word for liquid in French is liquide. It's actually liquide, liquide. I'll also, as a reminder, I's say E, not I, like we already covered. So this is not liquid or liquid, but liquide, liquide. Okay? So again, Q's are not hard. It's just something to remember. Liquide. Next. So Q, R, R's are fun. We've talked about R's once before. I think I mentioned it in passing, but let's spend extra time on it now. R's sound like or I'm like spitting on my hands, kind of gross. Either or way back in your throat. Either or sounds kind of gross when you really emphasize it like that, but that is how they're pronounced. I find it's kind of hit and miss for people being able to pronounce R's or not. I'll give you a bit of a strategy, a bit of a, I suppose you could say, a system you can follow to learn how to pronounce an R. I've seen this system work for a lot of people. And I would say, you know what? Like, I feel reasonably confident in saying that this kind of system would probably work for very close to 100% of people. Very close. I don't want to say 100 because maybe it doesn't work for everybody. But this definitely is something, if you practice this and you follow this, I feel very confident based on my personal experience and based on the experience of other people that I've worked with and that I've seen, that this will work. Okay? So the first thing you have to do when you're learning to pronounce a French R is you have to gargle some water. All right, I'm actually going to grab a glass right now. Give me one moment. 1 second. 1 second. I'm coming back. All right, so I got some water here. So the first thing you have to do is you have to take some water and you have to gargle. Like I want you to gargle water and get used to that feeling. A lot of us don't gargle water very often. Even if we're sick, maybe we don't do it. So you have to gargle water like that. Because when you gargle water, it's the exact same muscles. You're doing the exact same thing in your throat that you are doing when you're pronouncing a French R. So you have to go, you have to get used to doing that. I would do that, practice that a little bit at home. You can even do it in the shower if you want to. Take some shower water in your mouth and go with the shower water in your throat. Okay. The other thing here for French R's, right, that I would do once you've practiced some gargling is gradually start doing it with less and less water in your mouth. So only take a tiny bit of water, right? Take a little bit. And practice doing that, right? With a tiny bit of water, just gargle, 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 gargle. Okay. Next, I want you to try going, still tilt your head back as if you had water in it, but go with no water in your mouth to get used to that feeling of making the R sound without having water in your mouth. Okay. Once you've done that, that's a good warm up, and your mouth you'll start to get used to it immediately. From there, the easiest way, in my experience, based on how I learned R's, because I couldn't pronounce R's, it took me a long time to master them and really get them. It took me a lot of practice. Like every day, I had to practice it. What you have to do is you can follow this kind of system. You need to practice a few specific words. Okay. The first thing that you're going to learn is saying the following. Je crois que. Je crois que. This actually means I think or I believe. In fact, even learning this expression is kind of nice because it's something you can use very frequently in your speech anyway. It's a very frequently used expression. Je crois que. This croix, I would say easily 90% of people can pronounce croix. Why? Because when you look at the anatomy of the mouth, when you look at how the mouth works, when you pronounce the k in croix, you're pronouncing k using the back of your tongue. The back of your tongue is the part of your mouth that uses to make the sound k. R's are also used using a slightly further back part of your tongue. So because it's kind of similar, they're very close together in your mouth, a C and an R, your mouth actually finds it quite easy to pronounce a k. To go k, right? K, right? It's quite easy. So I would practice je crois que. Most of you will probably be able to do that to some extent, almost immediately or very quickly. I think most of you will be able to say this reasonably well, reasonably quickly. Okay? Once you've learned that, you're going to learn, you need to practice the number 3 in French, which is trois. 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 Okay? Some people find this really easy, actually. Some people actually don't struggle with it at all. They're like, oh, yeah, that's super easy. Some people find it a little bit more difficult because trois, the T in trois is pronounced using the tip of your tongue, while the R is pronounced using the back of your tongue. So making the transition from a T to an R is often pretty difficult. And so it's a nice transition step between je crois que and the number trois, right? It's a nice transition step between the two. Okay? Once you can say trois and you're like comfortable with it, you're going to practice the word théâtre. Théâtre. Which means theater. Théâtre is a little bit harder to say because there's more than one syllable. This is the one syllable word. This is not. So you're putting a longer string of sounds together while still trying to say an R like in trois, a TR combination. So théâtre. Remember, the E at the end of the word is silent. When we have E's at the end of the word, we don't pronounce them, right? So this is pronounced, a little bit closer. Théâtre. théâtre, théâtre, théâtre. Okay? So I would practice these three as a starting point, and immediately you're going to start, your mouth will really, you'll start to, if you practice these, right, start with je crois que, then go to trois, right, the number 3, then go to théâtre, okay? And if you practice those, your mouth is going to immediately start getting more used to the R's. We got to go a couple steps further, though, because R's are not, there's still some more practice we have to do before it really feels comfortable in your mouth. Grab some water, actually. All right. I'm going to clear this. Once you can say théâtre, there's another word I'd like you to practice, which is froid. Froid, which means cold. This will likely be a little bit harder for you guys, most likely, because F's, oops, the letter F, and if you look at, it's pronounced all the way at your lips. So to transition from a lip, like a lip kind of sound, all the way to the back of your tongue to make like that R, this FR combination will likely be difficult for you. Froid, right? So you're going to first do je crois que, then you're going to do trois, then you're going to do théâtre, then you're going to do froid. Those 4 words. Je crois que, or statements / words. Je crois que, trois, théâtre, and froid. This is going to cover off one version of the letter R in French. Okay, let's call these, I think they're called voiceless. We'll call them voiceless. Voiceless. And then we also are going to have voiced in a moment. So, je crois que trois théâtre and froid. Okay. That covers off one category of R's in French. These are voiceless. What this means is you're going, if you go and you touch your throat, your vocal cords are not vibrating. There's another category of R where your vocal cords are going to vibrate, which is if you're going and you touch your throat, you're going to feel your vocal cords vibrating. So to practice these instead of a h, what you're going to do is the first word you're going to learn is grand. 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 Grand means big. Big. Grand. Okay. The second word you're going to learn is dragon. Dragon. Actually, is that what I want to say? Actually, wait, let me see something here. Let me see something. One moment. Yes, we'll do that word. We'll do dragon. That's fine. We'll do dragon. Okay. Dragon. This is going to be a step. Dragon is going to be a step harder as well. Okay. Because transitioning from a D to an R, D's are pronounced using the tip of your tongue. R's are pronounced using the back of your tongue. Making that transition will be a little bit harder. Okay. Also notice there's 2 syllables in the word, which is maybe a little bit harder as well. Okay. Next, we're going to do the word roi. Roi. Roi means king. Roi. Some people find this harder because you're starting the word with an R instead of having another letter to start the word off. So roi, people often find a little bit harder as well than grand or dragon. And the fourth word, this is a really difficult one. Regarder. Regarder. Oops. Regarder. There's 2 R's in the word. This will be probably the hardest out of all these words that we've done. Regardez, regardez, regardez. This second R, these 2 R's are the same, except this one's pronounced a lot stronger than this one. So regardez, regardez, regardez. This should be the last word you try and learn. I really want you to start with these 4 and really master these, then move on to these and work in order. Okay. If you follow this, I would recommend you practice. I recommend you practice with these for 5 minutes a day. I think a shower is a good time to do so. It's an easy time to remember to do it. It's hard to like sit down for 5 minutes to practice, or even like when you're driving, like practice 5 minutes a day, and you will get you'll get more and more comfortable with them as time goes on. I'd also challenge you when you're speaking in French to really make sure when there's words with R's, it's going to slow you down, but do your best to pronounce it properly. Do not cop out, do not cheat, and say that R as an English R or a different R. Like say it properly and force yourself to slow down. Okay? It's a difficult process, but I promise you, if you follow this process, you will figure out how to say an R. Okay, so A, B, C, we've done A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R. Now we're at S. S is the same as English, nothing to cover off. S is the same, T's are the same. U's are different. The letter U in French is different. U is pronounced U. U. To pronounce U, what we have to do is we have to basically try and say E, right? E, but we have to keep a round mouth while we say E. We have to keep our lips rounded, right? Like this. Round them slightly while you try and say E. So you must keep your mouth in the shape of saying O, like as you're trying to say O, ooh, 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 O, 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 ooh. But then you have to say E while your mouth is in that shape, and your mouth is going to create this magical sound called U. Another way, a couple of keys for the U is your tongue must be touching these bottom 2, these teeth. Okay. Okay. They must be touching behind those 2 teeth, and your tongue must be. Wait, let me think. Wait, hang on a second. Yeah, and the back of your tongue must be the back of your tongue must be touching the roof of your mouth. So the back of your tongue is touching the roof of your mouth. The tip of your tongue is touching behind these 2 middle teeth. You're going to say E, right? And then you're going to round your lips and keep saying that E while your lips are round. It'll take practice, but you can get it. I find people can actually get a little bit faster. R's kind of tend to be a difficult one for people. So T, we have U. V is the same as English. T, U, V. W is the same. Q, R, S, T, U, V. W. X is the same. Y is the same. Z is the same. Okay. So if we look at the alphabet as if we recap just the alphabet, the main letters that are different are E. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U. I forgot O. Letter O is different too. A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O. Okay. And letter O. Put the O over here. So the main letters, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y. Yes. Okay. So these are the main letters in the French alphabet that are different than English. As a recap, we have E or E. H's, we just don't pronounce them. They're silent. We ignore them. I's are pronounced E. J's are pronounced Z. R's are either H or R. U's are U. And O's are either O or O. O, Okay, now I have some bad news for everybody. The bad news is that French is notorious for letter combinations. What I mean by this is, even though a letter by itself says a specific sound and is pronounced a certain way, if it's followed by another letter, the pronunciation might change. It's kind of unfortunate. It's kind of like English, actually. English is also pretty bad for this. Like a T says what? T, 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 right? Letter T says t, but the second we put an H after it, now it's not t anymore, it's th. Why? I have no idea, right? Or like, and it's not even always th, it could be the, right? THs could be th, like th as in the word think, or it could be the as the word the. So like English also has letter combinations where you put two letters beside each other and it creates a completely different sound. Unfortunately, French also works this way. It's unfortunate, but it is how it works. Okay, so let me give you some examples. We'll do some easy ones to start. CHs are pronounced as SHs. So CH is pronounced sh. Sh. It is not ch, but sh. In fact, French doesn't have a ch, like a ch sound, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think they do. I don't think they do. They only have sh. So CHs are sh. I'll give you a couple of examples. So like chemin. This is chemin. Chemin, right? Another one is the word for cat, right? Chat. Chat. Okay. So there's one letter combination. One moment here. Okay. We have some other letter combinations, most notably with vowels. Okay, we have a lot of vowel combinations that create some interesting sounds. Okay, so AI, anytime you see an AI, it is pronounced eh, eh, eh. It is the same as the E in the word let, eh. Okay. There is a bit of a rule that trumps this. If you have an AIN, careful, we're going to cover this in a few minutes in more depth. AIN is no longer eh, it is un. Not eh, but un. Eh, un. This is eh, this is un. Eh, un. Eh, un. Eh, un. We're going to cover this in more depth in a moment, but just remember, when you stick an N at the end, it's going to change the sound. All right. Now, let's do another one. Oops. Let's do AU. Also, AUX will follow the same rule. Okay? And also EAU for that matter. AU, AUX, and EAU is pronounced O. O. Just like the letter O. O. So, un, O. Let's keep going down the list. Let's look at, for example, is there anywhere with A's? No, nothing else with A's. Not that I can think of. Okay, we'll do that after. Let's do this one. Let's do EUs. Okay, we also have OEU as well, which is an option. Okay, we have E. E. So let's do it again. Un, O, E. I know I'm going a little bit fast, by the way. I know we're kind of going through reasonably quickly, and I know there's a lot to this. But we're going to be doing a lot of practice, so don't worry. Okay? E, un, o, e. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going here. Let's look at another E one. I-E-N. Let's do I-E-N. Let's also do I-E-R. Actually, I-E-R is not really that different, is it? Let's do E-Rs. E-R at the end of a word. Okay. I-E-N is pronounced young. 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 Excuse me. Young. ER at the end of a word. Let me give you some examples so you see what I mean. Like, for example, a lot of verbs are this way. Actually, almost always verbs are this way. So, for example, manger, voyager, these ERs at the end of the word says A. A. Kind of like when you say the alphabet in English, the very first letter of our alphabet is A. Very similar to that A. Manger, voyager, it's an A. It's not A, but it's A, little bit shorter. A. Okay. Let's keep going through some other pronunciation, other letter combinations in French. I'm going to clear this here. Let's look at OUs. OUs are not hard, but they're different. OU is pronounced oo. Ooh, kind of like two O's in English. This is pronounced oo. Ooh. Okay. Ooh. Let's look at OIs. OIs are pronounced wa. 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 Kind of like a WA. Wa. Ooh. Wa. Okay. Anything else with that O that I want to cover off? Not for now. No, I don't want to do any more O's for now. Let's do GNs. There's not a lot of GNs, but sometimes you have them. For any of the Spanish speakers, you'll like this GN combination. GN is pronounced nia. Nia. Similar to the word onion, like that, like kind of like an NI if you had to do an English and not a Spanish letter. Like a NI, I don't know, U. Like I'll just write the word onion. Onion. Kind of like the NI in the word onion is nia. Nia. Okay. We have some other ones here. We have, for example, we already saw this once, but let's just quickly do it again. We talked about the letter Q in French. Q's are always followed by a U, and QUs just say K, as in the letter K. 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 Okay. Let's look at some more. Why don't we do... I don't want to do our nasal words yet. I don't want to do nasal sounds. I want to do those last. Any others that I'm missing? No, let's not do that. We can do like THs, for example, because that's different in French. THs are basically pronounced, or actually not basically, THs in French are pronounced as T, just like a T. like in English, like a normal T. They don't have a th sound. They just say t. Someone's calling me. I wonder if it's a new student. I'm going to take this phone call. Hang on. Hello? Nope. Nope. Some automated call. Okay? T. THs are t. All right. Again, I know I'm going pretty quickly, but as I said, we are going to do some practice with this. I just want to go through the theory. I want to go through the theory, and then we'll hit the practice to really help you guys to get there and really hopefully internalize it a little bit more. Okay. Now French has some nasal vowels as well. So anytime you have a vowel N combination, so a vowel plus an N, it's always going to create some kind of a different sound. It's always going to create an interesting sound. Vowel plus an N. That's a weird looking N, isn't it? Let's fix that N. 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 There we go. That's a better N. Okay. So let me show you some examples. We have, for instance, we have, let's do E-N, E-M, A-N, and A-M. Let's do those in a second. We have, we're also going to have I-N, I-M, A-I-N, A-I-M. We're going to have E-I-N, that's a thing. E-I-M as well, that'll also happen. I think that's it. Yes, that'll be all of them. Then we'll have, oh, that's not a thing. We'll have O-N, O-M, and that's it. Just those two. And we'll have U-N and U-M. So A-E-A-E-I-O-U. Those are all the vowels. Okay, we got them. So let's look at these together. So these, you might want to write these down. These following letter combinations have some very bizarre pronunciations. Okay. These ones, anytime you have an E-N, E-M, A-N, or A-M in French, it's going to say on, on. Kind of like you try and say the word on, like turn the light on, O-N, on. Kind of like you're saying on, but at the last moment, you choose not to pronounce the N. So these are all pronounced as on. Like you're going to say on, but then you stop and you don't pronounce the N. On. Okay? These ones here, kind of this I-N, I-M, A-I-N, A-I-M, E-I-N, E-I-M. You'll notice they all have an I-M or an I-N in common, right? Those ones are pronounced un. If you're like, whoa, how do I say sometimes people can pronounce it really easily. Sometimes they can't. If you're struggling with what you're doing is it's the same as saying, like, if I give you a word like, let me think. Yeah, okay, got it. It's like saying as in the word apple, the in apple. But you have to make it really nasal. You have to make it very nosy, very nasal. It's like you're saying with your nose plugged. Well, made my nose feel funny. That's how you say those. If you give me a moment, I want to think about something here. Hang on. Bear with me like 30 seconds. I'm trying to figure something out here. to hopefully help you. In fact, let me Google it right now because I've never thought about this, but I think this can help you guys. How to make a sound nasal in English. Let me just see here. That might do it. Oh, I got it. I've got a new way to teach people this sound, another trick that might help. So, okay. Do you know when you say like, yeah, I got one. This should help. So, you know when you say in English, the ing sound, as in the word like bring, I'll write these out, bring, or running, or like fling. Do you see these words in English, like with these ings, bring, running, fling? We have this ing at the end, right? We have this ng. If you look at this ng, if you ignore the I, it's going to be like a ng, in the back of your throat, right? You'll probably feel your tongue hit the back of your, somewhere like in the back of your mouth. So if you want to say, what you're going to do is at first, I want you to say like, what would it sound like? Ang, 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 ang. Wait, ang, ang, ang. Oh, that might work. Hang on, let me just think about this. Ang, ang, like in the word bang. Ang, 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 ang. Yeah, I got it. It's super, super similar. If you were to say these ones here, it's super similar to saying something like ing. Like if you said like in the word ash, ing. Ang. It's super close to ang. That's actually really close to saying and ang. Your mouth is doing almost the same thing. The only difference between ing, ing, ang, and the only difference in ing and is that in ing, your tongue actually finishes this ng sound, versus an you start saying this ing, you just kind of start it, and you go and then you stop. You just start to get into this ng, but then you don't do it. That's how you say this. Oh, I'm really happy I came up with that trick. I've never thought about that before. It's funny when you teach and you get more and more. I've taught for thousands of hours in my life, but when you teach more and more and you try and attack things differently and you keep trying to get better, you stumble onto new things. I think this ing thing is really going to help people that struggle with this nasal sound. I'm really happy. This is exciting. Yes. Go Azren. Thank you guys for watching and actually going through this course. I mean, if it wasn't for this course, I wouldn't have realized how to teach that properly. Excellent. So that is all these letter combinations. The next difficult part is remembering it when you see it. Anyway, ONs and OMs. If you are British, this is going to be easy for you. If you're not British, a little bit more challenging. ON and OM are pronounced So what is How do you say it? Well, you have to pretend you're British. First of all, you have to pretend you're British. And you have to say a word like shop, like S-H-O-P, shop, as in shopping, shop. But say shop with a British accent. Shop, shop. Or that O in shop in a British accent is more of an O. In fact, we have it in English, in like a more Canadian or American English too. If we said the word like four, the number 4, F-O-U-R. In the number 4, this, if we were to get rid of the R and get rid of this F, and we isolated that middle sound, it's like an O, something like that. That's actually the 4 O is really close to right? So if you want to say it's really close to O, but you just have to make it more nasal. So, your mouth is really closed. You're not really, it's really closed. Notice my mouth is barely open. And you're just kind of like grunting to create that sound. The good news is most people I find can actually say this one reasonably well. Can actually say reasonably well. It just takes a little bit of practice. And I think you can do that one. UNs and UMs technically are a little bit different than these letters here, but nowadays they're so slightly, the difference is so slight that nowadays a lot of people pronounce these the same as these. So this should be, I got to think now too, versus this is so uh. Can you hear the difference? Some people can't even hear it because it's so slight. Therefore, because it's so slight, a lot of people pronounce these the same. But it should be and like this is just like a hair almost lower in pitch almost than these. But again, they're super duper close. Again, so close that a lot of people say them the same way nowadays. Whew, how are your brains feeling? This is a lot of pronunciation stuff all in one go. A lot. I realize that. But hopefully at least it's helping your brain a little bit. The good news is that kind of covers off. Let me double check, actually. I'm going to quickly pull open a website that has a chart that I like. French. Oh, I have it open, actually. I might have it. I have so many tabs open on my computer. It's kind of crazy. I do. Here it is. Yeah, I do have it open. I'll quickly look through this, make sure I haven't forgotten any letter combinations. We did AIs, AUs, we did do EUs. EUs. We did ILs. Yeah, that's fine. Oh yeah, there's one last one. I did forget one actually. So how do I say this? There are certain times in French where if you have an ILL, it's going to say E, 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 E. Like in the word family is famille. Famille, famille, famille. Kind of like an E, actually, really. Like kind of like the letter E, like E. It doesn't always happen, unfortunately, but it is reasonably common. Let me see here. Did I forget other letter combinations? OIs, OUs, UIs, CHs, QUs, TH, ONs, ENs, AIM, IN, OI. Yeah. Okay, we got all. So, good news is we have covered off the alphabet. We've covered off the major letter combinations. There's a few more final, I guess, basic rules that are worth covering, and then that's going to be a very fast crash course on pronunciation. Okay, so first one, we already talked about this. Anytime a word ends in an E, that E is usually not pronounced. So we already looked at a whole bunch of examples, right? Like I just literally wrote one on the board a second ago, right? In the word famille, this E is silent. It's not famille, it's not famille. The E is silent. Most of the time when a word ends in an E, you will not pronounce the E. Okay? Rule number 2 is almost always, anytime a word has a consonant, basically a consonant in case you don't know what it is, it's every letter except for A, E, I, O, and U. If a word ends in a letter that is not A, E, I, O, U, in other words, if a word ends in a consonant, the final letter is a consonant, you will not pronounce that consonant. For example, we saw this word earlier, which means early. Tu is pronounced tu. It is not tut. The T is silent, right? Or we saw this word earlier. The word for fat, gros, we do not pronounce the S. Gros, not grosse. Another example, and this gets a little more complex, right? We look at the word for big, grand. Number one, we do not pronounce the D. And then we notice we have an A-N, which is pronounced on. This is not an, right? Grand. Grand. So most of the time, when a word ends in a consonant, you do not pronounce that consonant. Okay? The exceptions to that rule is when a word ends in CR, F, or L. CRFL. If the final consonant of a word, if the final letter of a word is a C, R, F, or L, you are going to pronounce it. Okay, you will pronounce that. You will pronounce that letter. For example, if we look at a word like mec. Mec is like a guy in French. Guy, mec. We pronounce the C. Or for example, the word for egg, œuf. Œuf. We pronounce the F at the end. F. We do say it. So C-R-F-L. If you struggle to remember those, it's this consonants in the word careful, right? C, R, F, and L. If it's the last letter, you will pronounce it. Another one here. Let me give you some examples. So grand. Let's do what's another example? Petit. Let's do let's do long. Okay. So let's look at these words here. Okay. Grand, petit, long. Big, small, slow. You'll notice all these final consonants are not pronounced. This is not grande, but grand. We do not pronounce the D. This is not petite, but petit. We do not pronounce that final T. This is not lent, this is lent. We do not pronounce the final T. This kind of follows that whole final consonant rule in French. We talked about if a word ends in an E, right? We mentioned this. If a word ends in an E, we mentioned that E being silent, right? That these E's not being pronounced, which is true. I'm going to put a line through these E's so you know. Okay. However, if a word ends in an E and the previous letter is a consonant, you now must pronounce that consonant. So this is not, if you add an E at the end, it's now grande. This is now petite. This is now lente. So no E, lent. E, lente. No E, petit. Add an E, petite. No E, grand. Add an E, grande. I know it's a lot, guys. I really know it's a lot. I know it's a lot to remember. It takes time. French pronunciation is an absolute, a lot of parts of languages, a lot of stuff. I'm always like, yeah, we can break this down. We can do this. I can explain it in a very concise way. You'll be able to remember it. Like a lot of stuff, yes, and then we can do that. French pronunciation will take us some time. It will take you some time, but I promise you, if you do your homework and if you're doing the speaking homework specifically, we will get there. I'll give you the feedback. We'll work together. I'll be able to correct you. You will get there reasonably quickly. within 3 months, 6 months, your pronunciation should be, for most of you, assuming you're doing the homework and we're working together on pronunciation, for most of you, we can make your pronunciation comprehensible. You'll be able to be understood with your pronunciation. Okay, any other rules I want to cover off? I don't think so. Yeah, we'll do one more pronunciation rule. I know it's a lot. I know your brains are probably full of information, but let's do one last pronunciation rule. Got some funny little skin here. Feels kind of rough, kind of dry. Interesting. So let's look at, now this rule is actually a little bit easier to, this is not super difficult to wrap your head around because we do it in English as well. Let's look at the following. Okay. So how do we say this word? UNs are pronounced un, right? Un, avion, avion, un, avion. This means an airplane. Okay. Un avion means an airplane. Now, I want you to think about this in English. We're going to come back to the French for a moment. I want you to think about an airplane. When we say in English, oh, look, I see an airplane, and there's an airplane in the sky, nobody says, oh, wow, I see an airplane. What we actually end up saying with our pronunciation, what we actually end up saying is an airplane. Hey, look, it's an airplane. It's an airplane. Have you ever thought about that? No one ever says an airplane. It's too slow. We can't say, oh, look, it's an airplane. It's too hard. So what we end up saying is, hey, look, it's an airplane. It's an airplane. We connect, this N in an connects over to the A in the next word. We connect our words. Our words blend together in English. Well, in French, words also blend together. They also connect words together. When one word ends in a consonant and the next one starts in a vowel, generally speaking, there are always exceptions, and sometimes it doesn't work this way. But generally speaking, you are going to connect those two words. So here, we don't say un avion. What we actually say is un avion, un avion. You kind of bring this N over and you connect the two words. Un avion, un avion, un avion. Does that make sense? How are you feeling? I can feel everybody watching this that have made it this far. I can feel how full your brains are. Like, oh my goodness, Azren, this is a lot. The good news is that is basically, we're almost done. We're so close when it comes to, we're this close when it comes to our pronunciation being done. We have a couple more little things, and then we're done with the major, there's other small things, but with the primary pronunciation rules, we're getting there. We're this close, okay? So, a few more rules. Oops. And these aren't really rules, they're just specific, oh my goodness, I can't write this today. Ah, how do you write that? Oh yeah, that's how you write it, like that. Okay. We have a letter in French, which is a C with a little thingy underneath, a little, like kind of like an upside down question mark type thing. That is pronounced as a S. So for example, right? Like this word is pronounced sa. Sa. Not ka, but sa. Okay. French, we also have some letters with accents over top. A, E, I, O, You. Okay. We're almost there. We can do it. Stick with me. Okay. These, the good, oh wait, not this one. Let's skip this. These ones here, the good news is they're pronounced the same way as if they had no accent. This is A. This is E. This is O. This is U. There's no, you basically pronounce them as if there's no accent on top. Not much to cover off. Now, these E's, these 4 E's, there is something to cover. This is pronounced A, kind of like the letter A in English. Can I write an A like this? A, like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? A. These 3, the remaining 3, this one, and this one, are all eh. Eh. I know there's different accent marks, but they're all pronounced the same. Okay, we've done a lot. I'm going to give you guys, a bit, what time is it here? 12:54. So here's what we're going to do. We've covered a lot of information. In the description below, there is a Google Doc. You guys should know this by now. If you're on episode number 6, you should know about the Google Doc already. Okay. In the Google Doc, I am going to post a link, okay, with a short French text. I would like you to send me an audio recording of you trying to say, so on Instagram or Snapchat, send me an audio recording of you reading that particular text, okay? There are going to be some errors for sure. It's going to be difficult and you're going to stumble through some words. There's going to be words you don't know how to say. In that, send me that audio recording and I'm going to help you with some of the pronunciation and give you feedback based on what you said. Okay? And anything else you want to do here? It's 1 o'clock my time. I'm super tight on time. I wish I had another hour, because if I had 1 more hour, I'd sit here and I'd give you like a whole bunch of words. We'd practice together. We'd do, hey, here's a word. How do we say it? Why is this right? Why is this wrong? But I'm tight on time and I don't think I'll have time to sit and do that. So I'm going to give you guys the homework. Send it to me. I will correct it. We'll work one-on-one together on your pronunciation and I'll explain why certain rules or why certain words are pronounced certain ways. And we'll go from there. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I know this was really quick. I know there's a lot that we went through in the 70, how many minutes? 70, basically hour, 13 minutes. So I know it's a lot, but we can do it. We'll definitely reinforce a lot of these concepts as we go and as we continue along some of these lessons. So, all right, guys, I'll see you later. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and we'll chat soon. Bye for now.